Green onions are something almost every kitchen has, but they are also something that spoils very easily if we just buy them and casually toss them into the refrigerator. Sometimes only a few days earlier they were still green and fresh, but when we open the refrigerator again, the leaves have already turned soft and yellow, and the roots have started to get slimy and lose their fragrance. But the interesting thing is that, to keep green onions fresh longer, we do not need any special tools or overly complicated tricks. We still only use very familiar things in the kitchen, like a jar, a few paper towels, plastic wrap, or zip bags. The difference lies in a few small storage techniques, details that seem insignificant, but actually determine whether the bunch stays fresh much longer. Hello everyone, I'm Mary. Today I will share with you 4 very practical and easy ways to store green onions, each suitable for different needs in the kitchen. Method 1. The first method is very simple, but it helps green onions keep their freshness quite well. This method is especially suitable if you have just bought a fresh bunch of green onions and the roots are still intact. First, check the bunch again. Any leaves that are bruised, yellow, or wilted should be removed first. This is very important, because just a few damaged leaves mixed inside can make the whole bunch lose quality much faster. After that, prepare a glass jar, a tall cup, or any clean container that can keep the bunch standing upright. Pour a little clean water into the bottom of the jar, only about 2 to 3 centimeters is enough. There is no need to pour in too much water, because we only need the roots to be in contact with the water. Next, place the root end of the onions down, with the green leaves pointing upward, just as if we were arranging a small bouquet of flowers in the kitchen. If the bunch is too tall, you can choose a slightly taller jar so the onions stand firmly and do not fall over. If your home has a cool kitchen corner or a cool space, you can keep the green onions like that without doing anything else. If not, then we will put them in the refrigerator. Use a clean plastic bag or a zip bag to loosely cover the green leaves. There is no need to tie it too tightly, just cover it loosely to keep some moisture around the leaves and help prevent the onions from drying out in the refrigerator. Finally, place the jar of green onions in the refrigerator. Whether you keep them outside or in the refrigerator, about every 2 to 3 days you should check them and change the water once so the vegetables can keep absorbing clean water and do not rot. The storage time can last up to 2 to 3 weeks, if the bunch was very fresh at the start and you change the water regularly. Are you surprised? When you need to use some, you only need to take out a few stalks, rinse them lightly again, and cut them into your dish. It is truly very convenient. Method 2. With this method, the most important thing is that the green onions must be clean and dry. If the bunch you bought still has dirt around the roots, wash it gently until clean. Which beautiful country are you watching this video from? Please leave me a comment and let me know. But after washing, do not rush to put them straight into the refrigerator. You should spread them out in a colander, on a clean towel, or on paper towels so they can dry thoroughly. This is the point that many people often overlook. If the onions are still wet and you seal them up right away, the moisture trapped inside will quickly make them soft, slimy, and unpleasant smelling. When the onions are dry, prepare a few kitchen paper towels. You can use dry paper towels or ones that are only slightly damp. If the towels are too wet, squeeze or blot out some of the water. We only need a light amount of moisture so the onions do not dry out, not so much that they become wet. Next, spread the paper towels out, place the green onions on top, then roll them up gently. Do not roll them too tightly, because the onions also need a little space so they do not get bruised. After that, place the rolled onions into a zip bag or an airtight container. If using a zip bag, you can close it almost all the way, leaving a very small opening for some air to escape, or you can seal it fully but check it regularly. If using a container, choose one that is clean, dry, and has a properly fitting lid. Then place it in the refrigerator. Every few days, you should open it and check once. If the paper towel becomes too wet, replace it with a new one. If any onion stalks are bruised or yellowing, remove them right away so they do not affect the rest. With this method, green onions can usually keep for about 1 to 2 weeks. That is a fairly good amount of time for families who buy green onions to use over several meals during the week. Method 3. With this method, we will use green onions that have been washed and dried thoroughly, just like in the previous method. You only need to remember one small thing: the drier the onions are, the longer they will keep once wrapped. If there is still moisture inside, the plastic wrap will trap it and make the onions soften quickly. Now, arrange the green onions into one neat bunch, with the ends all facing in the same direction. Use plastic wrap to wrap around the bunch of onions. There is no need to use too many layers, just enough to keep the onions from drying out and from spreading their smell in the refrigerator. When you need to use some, just take the bunch out, open it or cut the end lightly, cut off a section of onion that is enough to use, chop it right on the cutting board, then use the plastic wrap to seal the cut end again. That way, you do not need to pull out individual stalks every time you cook. The whole bunch stays neat, clean, and easy to use. This method is especially convenient when you are cooking in a hurry. You just take it out, cut off a piece, chop it quickly, and add it to the dish. With this method, green onions can usually be stored for about 7 to 10 days in the refrigerator. If the onions are very fresh and you keep them well dried, it may last a little longer, but it is still best to use them within this time so they stay fragrant and green. Do you like this kind of storage, where the whole bunch stays neat and you just cut off a little each time? For Mary, this is a very convenient method for busy days, because I only need to open the refrigerator and the onions are ready to use right away. Method 4. The last method is the most suitable if you buy a lot of green onions, or if you already know that you will not be able to use them all within a few days. For this freezing method, we also use green onions that have been washed clean and dried very well, just like in the previous methods. You only need to remember one small thing: the drier the onions are, the easier they will freeze loosely and not stick tightly into one large clump. Now, place the onions on the cutting board and chop the whole onion, from the white part to the green leaves. The white part has a stronger fragrance, while the green leaves give the dish a beautiful color and a lighter aroma, so we do not throw away any part. Try to cut them somewhat evenly so that later, both storing and taking them out to use will be more convenient. After chopping, put the onions into a zip bag. Spread them into a thin layer, press out some of the air, then seal the bag. You can use your hand to gently spread them evenly so the onions do not gather into one thick mass. When frozen in a thin layer like this, each time you use them, you can simply break off or take out a small amount very easily. Then place the bag of onions in the freezer. When cooking, you do not need to thaw them first. Just take a little frozen onion and add it directly to the hot dish. The heat will soften the onions very quickly, and they still keep their fragrance quite well. With freezing, green onions can be stored for about 3 to 4 months. However, for the best fragrance, Mary recommends using them within the first 2 to 3 months. Do you often buy a lot of green onions and then not use them up in time? If so, this freezing method will help you save quite a lot, especially on busy days when you do not have time to prepare each little thing. So today, Mary has shared with you 4 very simple ways to store green onions. If you find these small tips useful, please leave Mary a comment and let me know. How do you usually store green onions? And out of the 4 methods today, which one would you like to try first? Thank you for watching the video. I wish you always have a warm, tidy kitchen, and bunches of green onions that stay green and fresh to make your dishes even more fragrant. And do not forget to subscribe to Mary Home.